So, I hear you're in the market for some wireless earbuds and you say budget is not a problem? Okay, so you just want the best then. What a coincidence. It just so happens, totally not scripted, that I have two of the most well-known premium wireless earbuds with me today. The Sony XM4 earbuds and the Bose QC earbuds. And I'm going to pit them against each other in a battle to the death. Or, we could just logically see what the differences are and see what's best for you. Yeah, we'll probably do the second. But to the death. Okay, so I'm going to skip talking about build quality because I feel that both of them are pretty darn good. I mean, the Sony is much lighter and therefore might make you feel like the build quality isn't quite there. But apart from the little bit of give in the lid, I don't really see a problem. Both of them are built really well. You shouldn't have a problem with them. So let's move on then to what is arguably the most important criteria for this class of device: fit and comfort. All right, on the one hand, if you're talking about the cases, the Sony is significantly smaller than the Bose, and this is the definition of being pocketable. It's also a fantastic evolution from the previous generation XM3 earbuds. This is something you can take in your pocket, and this is something you cannot. But when it comes to the actual earbuds, everything is turned opposite. Left is right, up is down. The Bose earbuds are the ones that are easy to just take out of the case and place in your ear and get on with it. So if you want to take a quick phone call, this is a lot easier to use. The Sony, on the other hand, does require a little bit of work. Like, you have to find the right kind of ear tips for you, and generally speaking, using silicone ear tips will make these significantly easier to use. But straight out of the box with the hybrid ear tips that Sony gives you, this is a little bit more fiddly and requires a little bit more work. Once you do the work, however, this also gets a lot more easier to handle and easier to place in your ear. Having said that, I have to give it to the Bose for quick usage, but when it comes to long-term usage, I found the size and weight of the Bose made me need to reset and readjust every once in a while, whereas the Sony for longer listening sessions was significantly more comfortable. So if you don't like earbuds going into your ear, then the Bose is the one for you. Personally, I don't mind a little bit of ear penetration now and then. Let's move on to the features and usability. And once again, we're in opposite land. The Sony actually comes out in lead. Now, on the surface, both of them have roughly the same basic features. I mean, they have Bluetooth 5.2, multi-point connections, active noise cancelling, ambient sound and all that. But with all that, the Sony also gives you a lot of intelligent features, like being able to switch between noise cancelling and ambient mode based on what you're doing, sitting, standing, walking, on a transport and so on, or based on your location. If you give it the permissions, it'll actually learn your locations and your preferences over time and switch automatically without you having to do it. Or you can go into a little map and say, when I go to this cafe, I want noise cancelling, or when I go to this little mall here, I want ambient sound. Add to that the 5-band equalizer that it gives you, plus upscaling for low bitrate MP3s, plus the fact that you can customize the controls on this to some extent or the other. This is feature packed, and very few earbuds on the market are beating the number of features that the Sony gives you. On the other hand, the Bose is the very definition of plain vanilla. You can't customize anything. You have a few options in the app, but beyond that, there's really not much else. So for features, the Sony wins out hands down. Now, when it comes to usability, whatever features are touted worked as advertised. So there's no issues with usability in either one of these two. Both of them were convenient. Both of them worked on touch controls, and the touch control worked fine. So really, it's just that this has more features than this has, but both are pretty darn usable at the end. So then what about battery life? This is big, and therefore this must last longer, right? Well, the case is bigger and holds more charge, but when it comes to the actual earbud, they're actually very comparable. This one is claimed to give you a class-leading 8 hours with ANC on. In my testing, it's more like 6 to 6.5 hours, but that was with ANC on the whole time, plus a bunch of the smart features on, plus music streaming almost continuously throughout that whole period over LDAC, prioritizing sound quality over stable connection. So that is the absolute most excruciating test scenario for this guy. That's everything on basically. But if we turn off a lot of the smart features and if we run it on AAC, then they're both very comparable. So overall, I don't think you'll have an issue with battery life with either one of these devices. They are fantastic and amongst the best in the market, really. Now, when it comes to belting out tunes, Sony. That's it. There's literally nothing else on the market that I have heard that is as good as the Sony WF-1000XM4. Yes, I'm going to say the whole name because it deserves it. The dynamics, the resolution, the delicacy with which the mids and highs are reproduced, the bass and sub-bass extension, albeit lacking a little bit of punch, everything is just the best I've heard in this class of device so far, and I can confidently say it competes with many of its wired counterparts as well. Now, if you are an iPhone user and you are limited to AAC, plebeian, then both of them are going to support AAC, but the Sony is just going to sound better. Now, if you're an Android user and you actually have LDAC support on your device, this scales up to a level of quality that this cannot hope to achieve with respect to sound. Add to that the fact that you have an equalizer in-app, so you can actually adjust the sound to your liking. If you want to do any music listening and if you want the best sound fidelity, it's the XM4 all the way. There's no question about it. But what about other things? What about call quality? Listen for yourself. So, this is the call quality test of the Sony XM4 earbuds. I'm happy to report that I have finally gotten rid of that insurance salesman, but since I'm at this beautiful cafe, this is the Sony XM4 earbuds. If I was sitting in a cafe with cafe sounds playing, I'm moving my head around to see how the call quality changes as the direction of sound changes. This is the Sony XM4 with cafe sounds in the background. Okay, now switch to the Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds, and it's the same scenario really. I'm just thankful that I no longer am being badgered by insurance salesmen, and I just so happen to be at that cafe I was talking about. So this is the Bose QC Earbuds with cafe sounds in the background. I'm moving my head in different directions to see what the call quality is like with the sound coming from different directions. Bose QC Earbuds with cafe sounds. And finally, we come to one of the most important features, that's noise cancelling and ambient sound mode. Okay, first of all, ambient sound mode works roughly the same between both the devices in that it's a mix of noise suppression and external noise amplification, and both of them in-app have sliders that you can adjust to find just what's right for you. Having said that, this has more granularity on the slider, therefore more customizability, and it has a focus on voice option, so you could keep it on maximum noise suppression or the lowest ambient mode and still have a focus on voice, which should allow you to hear both voices and announcements a lot clearer. So for ambient sound, this has a slight advantage, but in all fairness, both of them are pretty good. When it comes to noise cancelling, Bose is still king of the hill. This gives you the best noise cancelling in the business today. The Sony, however, comes a very close second. And here's how it works. On an aircraft, both of them will take away the low frequency rumble and leave some of the higher frequency rumble. When it comes to a cafe, this will suppress most of the noise, the crowd sounds, and a significant amount of individual voices as well. Whereas the Sony will allow you to hear the barista when she's calling for you. Having said that, if you're playing music, either one of these devices will basically shut out the world. You're going to be fine, but the fact is noise cancelling is better on this one, and this deserves praise for that. So then, we've been through a whole gamut of things, and right now it's a bit topsy-turvy, right? One's good for comfort on one end, the other's good for long-term comfort, one is good for sound quality, the other's good for noise reduction. How do you actually choose? Well, put it this way. If you absolutely cannot abide earbuds going into your ear and you want the best noise cancelling and you don't care that much about sound quality as long as it's good enough, then the Bose is the one for you. These are very good for noise cancelling, and they have good battery life, and the silicone wingtip earbud is very comfortable. Bear in mind that for longer periods of listening, in my testing, this did prove to be a little bit uncomfortable. However, if you don't mind the next best noise cancelling, like it's very close, but if you want incredible sound quality, possibly the best sound quality among wireless earbuds currently, and you don't mind fiddling around and finding the right ear tip just for that one time, then the Sony is going to be infinitely rewarding in that regard. Plus the fact that it has a hell of a lot of features, most of which work as advertised. Add to that the fact that they also support LDAC playback, giving you that high-res audio. The Sony makes a very compelling case for itself. Now, I can't tell you what to do. Since you asked for my personal opinion, I prefer the Sony. I don't mind putting that little bit of effort in. If you use silicone earbuds, they do become significantly more comfortable to put in and take out. But bear in mind that it does come at the cost of a little bit of sound quality. But overall, I find the Sony package more compelling in terms of features, in terms of long-term usage, and just plain music quality. You've seen the video, do your own research, make your own decision. Hopefully this was of some value to you. Till next time, stay happy, stay peaceful, stay colorful.